I brought an OnlyFans star to Harvard Business School's campus. She has 10 million subscribers across platforms, most of them women, and she's converted many of these women to paid content on OnlyFans.
Let me be really clear. Women, don't follow any of this advice. There's a reason that there has been stigma attached to sex work, and there should be. Harvard has decided that students should learn the ways of the whore. Now let's back it up. Universities have been failing students, right? I've said the way that we need to combat this is to render them irrelevant in the same way that legacy media has been rendered irrelevant. I know that that's tough for people to take the plunge. I do ask that you sort of decondition yourself from thinking, yeah, I want my kids to get into the best, the most prestigious school possible. If enough of you understand that that is no longer the case and what they are actually teaching, then it renders them valueless. That's what I want to see happen with places like Harvard, with places like Brown, with places like Stanford, with places like Berkeley. Go on down the list. Let's go through some numbers really quickly. We give you the references every single show. 11 a.m. is when we stream, and you have the references. Half, or at least half, probably more than half actually, according to most stats, half of college grads, they have jobs that don't require a degree. So once they leave and they get a job, it doesn't really need a college degree, or certainly not the one that they got in college. Only 56% of those with bachelor's degrees are satisfied at all. And if you contrast that with like trade schools, vocational, 91% satisfied.
Wow.
If you look at the current student loan debt, it's $1.6 trillion.
Jeez.
$1.6 trillion, it averages out to tens of thousands of dollars per person who, by the way, they get saddled with debt, they get a job that didn't even require that degree or is not in their field, and they're unsatisfied with life in general. They could have gone to a trade school, they could have started a business. If you were to just bet, okay, I'm going to bet what is going to bring me more happiness, fulfillment, freedom, and you had one path, Ivy League school, get a degree, or trade school, start a business, pick path B every time. Yep. It doesn't mean it's always the case. I'm just talking about playing the odds. And we've been told the opposite. Well, here's maybe why. This is Exhibit 142Z. Harvard decided to host an OnlyFans model named Ari Kytsya for a business class discussion on the porn industry, on sex work. And of course, she was advocating it in a lot of ways. Hey, this is great. You could do it. This is the Ivy League. It's a joke. Save your money. And here she is. We have a clip. I apologize for the heavy rainfall.
Yeah, no kidding.
Why did we go with a tin roof? I didn't even know that was still a thing.
Keep it country.
I don't know why you need to lecture or have a class on this. Sex work, being a prostitute, it's the oldest profession, right, in existence. It's be as attractive as you can be. Offer yourself sexually to as many people as possible. There's some marketing therein to make yourself available to more suitors. That's it. There's not a whole lot more to it. And when people do this and they act like, I'm an entrepreneur, it's silly. We know that these whores are silly. It just doesn't seem that Harvard got that memo, because here she is talking about her self-taught business acumen.
Guys, I did it. I spoke at Harvard. Was it one of the most nerve-wracking experiences of my life?
Is that a man's voice?
Being a actress, which is a job that is not usually respected in a room full of people that have been studying business.
You want to see my feet?
Definitely made me an overthinker.
My throat's heavily worked.
I myself that I'm not coming to teach people business lessons. I'm coming to share my personal business experience, which was all self-taught.
I would imagine that it was.
Yeah.
I taught myself how to bang. Yeah. I taught myself about the birds and the bees.
Parents are paying $300,000 in tuition only to find their daughter's senior thesis online for $9.99. That's the lesson here. And her business lectures include how she was offered $10,000. This is Harvard. When people say, oh, look, this is a problem, right? The intellectuals are on the left. What they really mean is people who attend these institutions and encourage these kinds of classes, yes, they are on the left. I don't believe that they are more intelligent than someone who starts a business. I don't believe that they're more intelligent than someone who opens up some, Jack-in-the-Box franchises. How is it a measure of intelligence that someone has sat in these classes at Harvard? You tell me how that proves that they're more equipped to deal with the real world. Part of her lecture includes being offered $10,000 to poop in a box.
One of the very first times that I started, I didn't do it. It's not allowed on OnlyFans. There's a lot of things that aren't allowed. Somebody asked me to shit in a box and send it to an email for $10,000 so they could eat it, and I did not do it. Back up. I just wanted to go.
They asked you to shit? What, is that what you said?
Yes, like go poopy in a box.
And then send it to them and they would eat it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't do that, guys.
Just standards.
God, how much are they going to pay you for that?
$10,000.
Oh my God. I'm in the wrong industry.
Also, that is proof positive that despite what you've been told, women are not the great listeners that you've been taught to believe. Sheila goes,
One time I was offered $10,000 to poop in a box.
and the other lady, then her follow-ups are, oh my gosh, what did they ask you to do?
Poop in a box?
And how much did they offer you?
$10,000? That's literally the only phrase I said. They offered me $10,000 to poop in a box.
They offered it, and the lady next to I'm in the wrong industry.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I'm in the wrong industry. Yeah, you are. You can't even break down a simple sentence.
No, and you're filling the kids' heads with crap. She's just putting it in a box.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one.
And-
That's Harvard.
Well, here's the thing. The event organizer is a Harvard business student, Morgan Hewitt. She invited Ari because she got many women to make paid content on OnlyFans. Here's a clip.
I brought an OnlyFans star to Harvard Business School's campus and I almost got expelled. Once I learned more about her, I realized that this woman has built an insane marketing funnel. She has 10 million subscribers across platforms, most of them women, and she's converted many of these women to paid content on OnlyFans, which is rare. So many students showed up to meet her, but many also complain. The jury's still out on whether OnlyFans is good for women. For a select few like Ari, it has been life-changing and amazing, but for the vast majority, it has been disappointing. Which begs the question of, is it really worth it?
Yes, it's a difficult equation that warrants discussion. Although I will say that Ari actually did help a professor solve the world's toughest equation.
Looks right.
Now, obviously, this is funny.
Checks out.
It's silly, but let me be really clear. Women, don't follow any of this advice.
No.
The problem here is they go like, well, you can be a sex worker or a mom. You can be a boss babe or a prostitute. And some people are successful and some people aren't. And so you need to figure out what's good for you as though there's an equivalency. There is not. There's a reason that there has been stigma attached to sex work, and there should be. There should be, not just because we don't want it in our society, but it's bad for the women involved. The results are in, there is no doubt. If you look at sex workers, and there have been many, check the references, link in the description, many studies on this. They've been studying this for a long time. They have much higher rates of anxiety, depression, PTSD, substance abuse, suicidal ideation. Like, to give you an idea, the anxiety rates, 58% for sex workers, 31% for the general population. Depression, 68% for sex workers, 18% for the general population. PTSD, 6% for the general population, 72% for sex workers. Substance abuse, 85% for sex workers, 17% for the general population. Suicidal ideation, 86% for sex workers, 5.3% for people who aren't involved in sex work. But it's the same.
Those are worse numbers than veterans.
Yes, they are.
Wow.
86% suicidal ideation.
You want to know why?
The depression rate? That is, seriously, if you brought up veteran numbers, I bet you a couple of those would beat veteran numbers.
I guarantee you they would. You know why? Because veterans, and they go through hell, and obviously we're incredibly grateful, but there is a sense of purpose. They are accomplishing something.
Pride.
There's nobility in it. There's self-sacrifice. These women, ultimately, when they find themselves past the window, right, they've hit the wall, they go, okay, I've thrown so much of my life away. I probably can't get away from this. And I did it out of selfish motivation. That's the only reason. I was just being greedy and selfish. And I told other women to do the same. I would imagine that adds to the guilt. So please, don't listen to what these women tell you. Listen to what these women actually do. Commit suicide, take all kinds of psychotropic medications, have to seek counseling for the rest of their life. Ivy League, but here's the thing, in Ivy League, a lot of these schools were deeply Christian institutions. They can't make any moral judgments, so they have to treat a glorified whore, and by whore, I mean someone who sells their body sexually for money. They have to treat them the same as a lawyer who graduated summa cum laude and took cases to the Supreme Court. It's just your decision. It's not. It's not. There isn't. Sure, you can make a choice, but there is no equivalency.
By the way, did we just find a stat that's worse than trans suicide rates? I know it's ideation versus
it's ideation, not as far as attempted suicide.
Do you think that the trans suicidal ideation would be much higher?
Probably not.
That's insane.
Probably a lot of sex workers are. A lot of trans people are sex workers too.
Right. And then what's the ripple effect with this? So if you normalize this, right, if you normalize the OnlyFans culture, and we have, and I'm not saying that that was good, but you know, a strip club was very different, where she kept it in this area of town. You had to present an ID, you go in, you know what it is, it's limited, it's not available for mass consumption and simply turned into a legitimate business model as we see today, where young women just consider it one of many options. What does that also do? Well, it removes some of the barriers to sex because we have a hypersexualized society. And so women end up having more sexual partners. And then we have stats on that too. Check the references, 11 a.m. Eastern. We always provide them. Women with more lifetime or premarital sexual partners, they have much higher rates of divorce, lower rates of marital satisfaction, increased risk of substance abuse or dependence disorder, poorer long-term relationship stability. And by the way, it's a dose-dependent relationship, meaning that if your number of sexual partners as a woman are 1 to 8, okay, it's worse than people who didn't have 1 to 8, who waited until they were married. If it's 8 to 12, it gets worse, and so forth. It's dose dependent. The more sexual partners you have, the higher your likelihood of divorce, the higher your likelihood of mental disorder, the higher your likelihood of substance abuse, the higher your likelihood of relationships simply not being stable. Again, there's been a lot of data on this. You can't listen. It's always funny to me when those on the left, they go, well, that's what big pharma, that's what big oil, people in the industry, of course, are going to push that propaganda. What do you think is happening with people who stand to gain from the quote unquote sex industry? You think they're going to tell you? Yeah, across the board, all objective studies, data that we have available says that this is bad for you.
Yeah.
It's bad for you, and we know it's bad for society. No, of course they're not. But all of a sudden, we're supposed to believe, energy companies, pharmaceutical companies, by the way, Christian missionaries, everyone has a vested interest, and they're lying to you, except for the noble porn companies.
Yes.
Of course, they act like they have to act like they love it because that's part of the game. It's part of the product.
Right.
I love this. I want you. I want you to want me. Like, it's all very, self-indulgent.
Yep.
Well, they're saying the men have been making the money off of them for decades, millennia, really, for having the women and go out there. They own the brothels. They own every institution that could kind of sell this kind of stuff. And it's like, finally, we're empowering the women to do this. This is right in line with feminism. They have no backstop. If you go down that road, you have to think this is good.
Yeah.
In their mind. They cannot come out against this in any way, shape, or form.
It'd be like the women of Germany going, well, at least the women will have a chance at the gas chambers. First of all, in charge. Like, yeah, but exactly. It's still bad.
Still horrible for you and society. Yes, but we have no social moorings. We can't tell anybody that it's bad.
Yeah.
We set up a system that doesn't allow that.
Well, what's her name? That Hewitt, the other lady, the student who brought her in the
Morgan Hewitt, which sounds like a financial firm.
Yeah, and looks like Macy Gray's sister, is using her Harvard business education to do what? To develop a vibrator. And by the way, I should have told you, if you have kids, they shouldn't be watching this. Develop a vibrator that uses AI. Oh, I guess they are overtaking us all. Rumble Wallet. Keep your crypto safe, even when you are at your most vulnerable.
Hey, how'd you get in here? Go! Stop recording me.
Please do it for social. Go to wallet.rumble.com to download the Rumble Wallet today. No banks, no fees, no middlemen, just your money and now your crypto in one secure, easy-to-use place. Get started today.
One of my best friends at Harvard Business School confessed to me that she has never had and I thought So you are one of the smartest women in the entire world. You're
Women.
literally at Harvard Business School, and your boyfriend hasn't figured out how to give you an O? I thought I could do better. And that's literally why I built Devin. Devin is an AI-powered device to help you have the biggest O of your life. And ladies, not all O's are created equal. And now using data, we can train you to have a bigger and bigger and bigger one every time you use it.
Yeah.
That's a lie. Women don't have orgasms.
So it's going to retail for $299. It, quote, learns about you. It can speak to you in a male or female voice.
Love
it's described as a responsive lover.
I mean, what?
And by the way, nobody seems to care about how, there's a big argument as to whether AI can become sentient. And
Right,
you just saw Richard Dawkins said absolutely that is
Yes.
the case. I don't know that I agree with it, but nobody seems to be taking into consideration how this is affecting potentially the AI dildo.
Why did they have to give me smell receptors, man? It's like, my God, Jackie, you need to wash that pussy and meet a man, because I can't take it anymore.
Where are you, Devin?
Yo, fuck this.
And plastic flew everywhere.
Every now and then things just come together that, it's a good day. And of course, Hewitt defended her creation with the predictable feminist talking points that ultimately end up destroying the very fabric of society.
A male investor told me that Devin would ruin humanity, and I said, interesting. So 4,000 years of arranged marriages, that didn't ruin humanity. Rape within marriages being legal until 1990, that didn't ruin humanity.
No.
But a little toy that optimizes a woman's orgasm, that is gonna ruin humanity. He said, well, if women don't need men for pleasure, then why would they still choose us? And I said, exactly. Maybe you should find a way to be worth choosing.
So now we've reduced men down to merely their sexual contributions. It seems to me that we're not supposed to be sexualizing people or reducing them to their sexual functions. But, I get it. She's just saying like, hey, maybe you guys should be better in bed. You heard it, guys. All you need is a bionic dick. That's it. You're just, hey, you got to be willing to go the extra mile.
Failure to comply.
Yes.
And they always do this, these people who know that they're, we've seen this when talking about pornography, and it's a bad thing. Pornography is a bad thing. You can see me covering that back in 2014, Your Brain on Porn. I think now people are starting to understand it, even those who aren't Christians, aren't people of faith. But people just understand physiologically that it rewires your brain. If we know that men are checking out of the dating pool for several reasons, women have unrealistic expectations. Feminism has rendered a lot of women unattractive to young men. And we're not going to have this debate right now. You can either just die alone or understand that men have expectations and boundaries and meet in the middle. Now let's apply that to women. Let's get people into a situation where they are more and more isolated, and basic human contact and social interactions that were once required for development and navigating relationships. Let's replace it all with a machine. And these business owners, the people creating, they just go like, well, hey, I'm just providing the service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, how about don't? Do we ever just consider that?
How about just be honest with people about what the service will cost you? Like, you're appealing to the basest emotions of men, and the easiest thing to do is to turn a man on. It's not like you have to have a lot of skill to do this.
Right.
But it's also the thing that you're railing against, and you're saying men are just only thinking about this, and we don't want men like that. Yeah, but which is it? Because you're perpetuating that right now. You're tapping into it.
Just think, this is the message to young women. You could do OnlyFans. They think it's more offensive to tell young women, hey, by the way, you really should start focusing on a family young. And you should probably prioritize that in your biological window, and then look at working after, look at going back to school after, if you want to have a family and if you want to have a long-lasting marriage. They think that's oppressive, that's control. But here's a bionic AI dildo, and we also recommend you consider OnlyFans. Here's the crazy part. When we're talking about Ivy League schools, this is not the worst example that we found, this OnlyFans speaker. They also had Kareem Nubchandani, also known as Lahore Vagistan.
What?
Visiting drag queen professor at Harvard who was teaching this year queer ethnography, Rue politics, drag, race, and power. Why why do people need to learn about this at Harvard?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, when people say, oh, it's a scam, a scam usually means you're paying for something and you didn't get it, right? You're paying for a degree, and the promise is, or at least it always was with higher education, you are paying to educate yourself so that you will be equipped to deal with real world issues and overcome them more effectively, in particular, as it relates to your professional endeavors. That's what you're paying for. Instead, you get a course on RuPaul's Drag Race and queer ethnography.
Yeah. If when Lahora Vagistan comes up there, they don't say, hey, by the way, welcome Lahore to the stage. By the way, she's in a group of people that tries to commit suicide more than prisoners in Auschwitz. Welcome.
Yeah.
That would be educational because that is a part of the package.
They consider this progress. You know what I think is more productive? So all the way up until really the last, call it 10, 15 years, the way they would have dealt with, I want to make sure I get the name right, Lahore Vagistan, this would be more productive. Instead of giving them a class, or I don't know, maybe they're a visiting lecturer, they're not tenured, it would be, okay, let's look at new professors for this year. Oh, Lahore Vagistan, that's a no. And you move on to the next one.
Oh, we got another joke application.
Yeah. I think that would be more productive. You guys let me know. Now, this doesn't exist in a vacuum. Remember, Harvard is the same institution that brought you, we covered this. Remember Roland Fryer Jr.? He published a study knowing full well that he would have backlash, that there were no racial differences in police shootings. Remember that? He actually set out to prove, right, police brutality. He disproved it. He conducted the study a second time because of the criticism, and it yielded the same results.
And his own doubts, by the way. Criticism and his own doubts.
And his own doubts. Did it twice. What happened as a result? You'd think, hey, this is good information to have, right? The public has been misinformed. This is now at least where we irrefutable. Let's include this in the conversation at least, right? In other words, if the conversation in higher education is police brutality, driving while black, it's an epidemic, defund the police. Now, what should be included, this is not changing your opinion 180, but when people say you can evolve, we now have two very, very robust studies that show us there is no racial differences. There are no disparities as it relates to police brutality. That should be included in the discussion. That is something that Harvard couldn't allow. We're not saying that you need to go out and say, hey, by the way, there's no problem with racist police officers. We're just asking that the data, once the study has been conducted, now be a part of the conversation when it is peer-reviewed and legitimate. Instead, Roland Fryer Jr., he needed armed security to go out in public. He was suspended 2 years unpaid and lost his research operation after conveniently timed sexual allegations. He was suspended by the black Harvard president, Claudine Gay, who, by the way, had to step down after it was noted that she plagiarized a lot. But Lahore Vagistan, welcome on in. Harvard and the Ivy League has become a joke. The solution is not, can we overtake these institutions? It's render them irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because they are actively, it's not just that they're useless. You are being scammed. Now their primary goal is to actively corrode a moral society. You understand that, right? I mean, just think about OnlyFans. There's a number out there, and I still don't believe it, even though I've double and triple fact-checked this. 28% of women between the ages of 18 to 24 are on OnlyFans. That's 1.3 million creators. And the average creator earns about $131 a month. $131 a month.
Jeez, dude.
If this follows you for the rest of your life, think about it. These people in higher education, professors, deans, they should know these young people are impressionable. They're not capable of making the best judgments. I mean, you believe that to be true because you think it's creepy if a 24-year-old dates a 40-year-old. You think it's predatory. For some reason, though, you just say, well, we're not going to make a moral judgment. We're just going to tell them that they can. They can start an OnlyFans. But do you tell them that most people destroy their lives for little to no money? They'd make more money mowing lawns in the summer? Isn't that your job as an educator? To equip these young women? It's almost like it's by design. And I know I'll just be labeled a toxic male hater, and Ari Kytsya specifically addressed her haters.
If somebody has the belief that I don't belong in a classroom,
you don't.
I would love to hear why. And I would love to have a real conversation about that with them, because
they're just assuming something before even listening.
Okay. I'll be your Huckleberry. I would cordially welcome you onto the show. I don't think that you should be in classrooms. I think that you are advocating a professional avenue that is harmful, corrosive to young women. I think you're going to regret it deeply. I don't think that these young women should listen to you, and I certainly don't think that a couple of years from now they purchase your inevitable Bible course. That's my opinion. You are welcome to come on the show. I will be respectful. I will not promote your OnlyFans, but I will have the conversation. Reach out. Ball's in your court. Speaking of strippers,
I can't get over that. $131 a month is the average.
Yeah.
You said something earlier. You said it's more offensive to tell a woman that she should settle down and start a family young than it is to, and then you went on. The other thing, the other statement is, hey, nice, I think they're worth about $100 a month. You should put them online.
Right. Yeah.
$131, man. You're just giving away your whole body.
Empowering. Wait a minute.
By the way, you don't want to be controlled by a husband if he's a primary earner and he has a say and follow his leadership. Who do you think controls you if you're an OnlyFans? What happens if you stop dancing for the dollars? The dollars stop coming in. Those giving you the dollars control you. You'd rather be controlled by creepy, strange men.
Mm-hmm. A boss?
Yeah. Just not a husband who loves you, who's willing to lay down his life for you.
Right.
Because that comes with some expectations, boundaries, and conditions. In this case, it's entirely transactional. And then these same women will often refer to, if a man goes, well, look, if I'm going to do X, I expect you to do Y and Z. What is our love transactional? I guess go back to OnlyFans. See if you end up with a fulfilled life. Hey, if you're still watching this, you may be one of the 6 million or so subscribers on YouTube who is, for one reason or another, I don't understand it, still here. So back in the day, I would say click one of these videos and subscribe, but really just head on over to my channel on Rumble. Follow me there. I'm live 5 days a week, 11 a.m. Eastern, and I actually say the things that I mean to say. On YouTube, it's everyone here is kind of neutered, really, and there's just a general lack of testicular energy, but I mean that in the heterosexual way. Mostly.